Amigos de iRock, Living Color regresa a Chile con su magia, talento, canciones que son himnos. Se presentarán el próximo 3 de marzo de 2026, celebrando 40 años de carrera. Y hoy tenemos el honor de estar con su histórico baterista Will Calhoun. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, man. How are you?
I'm great too.
Great.
But tell me, how is gonna be this celebration tour in South America? What do you have in mind?
Well, thank you for this question and thanks for having me on your show. We're going to basically celebrate all the years that we've been playing together and how amazing all of South America has been for Living Color. The support over the years. Even I've come to Chile to do my own drum clinics and drum festivals there, and Chile's always been a fantastic, fantastic place for us to come and play. So the intention is to pay the respect to the people of Chile for the support over the years and play a repertoire of most of the records, maybe a few covers, but it's more like a celebration. Thank you. Welcome back, and we're working on some new music. That's kind of the idea of it.
Excellent. Well, the classic and the classic songs, the most played songs in your shows. Don't you ever get bored of them?
Never, never.
Great.
Um,
How do you do that?
well, everyone's a great musician, and Corey's a fantastic singer. So we actually, there's always something different happening within the music. We play the music, but there's that kind of improvisational jazz element is always in there, where we're even testing each other and we're thinking to each other, what's the best way to do this, or we're gonna try something new. Sorry, I'm gonna move my camera
Yeah, no problem.
so I'm not looking down at you. Um, we want to try something new sometime, and so, but it's never boring. And in all honesty, also, I love the music. Whether as strange as that sounds, I love the music. I love playing the music, so it's always a great opportunity to perform live.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, Shade is your last record that was out during 2017, and I understand you are working in the new album. Where could
Yeah.
this be, this new record ready?
When is it going to be ready?
Yeah.
I'm hoping by the spring,
Oh, okay.
2026 spring.
And how does it sound? You tell me something?
We have a lot of interesting ideas at the moment. Obviously, there's a lot of political things going on in the world and certainly in this country. So the sound now, for me, is a little bit closer to Stain, but it's still also a bit of a new sound for the band. There's some things that we want to go back to, some people that we work with that did a great job in when working with the band. But I don't think that honestly we have a sound, Felipe, for the record yet. I think we're in the writing stages. We're trying out sounds. We're seeing what things work and don't work. And I'm hoping that we could get to a new space. I love where we were, and I love where we are now. But I'm hoping we can get to somewhere new. But the strange thing is, in saying something like that, Cult of Personality was written almost 35 years ago, and it came out 32 years ago, and it's relevant right now. So this is the interesting part about sound and the impact. But I think spiritually for us and the subject matter is the most important thing, and we certainly want to bring in new fans and not disappoint the old ones.
That's great. Well, what things have changed through your time as a band in the composition work? Do you still feel as excited as in the early days?
Yeah, I mean, we have new technology. There's AI. It's easier to write. There's things now you can have on your laptop, Logic Audio, Pro Tools, even things on your phone, GarageBand. So the process is, we have more toys to influence us to write. But for rock and roll and for this band, getting in a room, plugging the instruments in, and hashing out the tunes have always given us the best results.
Excellent. Well, you told me something when you were talking about the new album. I like to ask you, how does it feel living in the USA these days when you see like this kind of witch hunt in the streets? You know what we see on the news. You know, I don't live there. and some particular statement from such extravagant leader.
What would you like to know?
Yeah, how does it feel to be in there for you in the USA these
It's
days?
terrible. It's terrible. I have a lot of friends from all over the world. I live in New York City, so I have friends from Cuba, from Puerto Rico, from Dominican Republic, from Haiti, from Switzerland, from Germany, from uh, uh, Prague, Czech Republic. Uh, a lot of it, unfortunately, is racially profiled, so they mostly are pulling out black and brown people. But if you look at this city and this country as illegal immigrants arrive here, there's plenty. Um, no one wants to break the law, in my opinion, and some people flee their countries because their countries are in turmoil.
Yeah,
But I don't think rounding up people like they're wild animals and dragging them out of their homes and going to their children's baseball games and running out on the field is a way to do it. I think it's a very disconcerting manner in which they want to approach the law. I am not for breaking the law in any way, shape, or form. If the person's illegal, they don't have the right paperwork, they should be dealt with according to the law. But if you're not going to go find a serial rapist or a axe murderer and jump into his house and pull him out and beat him down and drag him through the streets, why would you do it with an immigrant? That's kind of how I see it.
yeah. Well, thanks for your answer. And well, I would like to ask you another way. Your music is powerful, always living colors, being like that. Your way of playing is really energetic. Do you make any extra preparation these days to keep it that way?
No, not any extra. No, music
Okay.
is a spiritual connection to me to things seen and unseen. So the best way for me to prepare is to keep my mind open and to not assume anything about music. Music is bigger than we are, and you can't control it. So my idea is to go into each performance, each songwriting performance, even when I'm practicing by myself, with an open mind. And I think that's when things come to you. And if you try to control it or you try to dictate what music really is going to be, then you're gonna. For me, let me speak for myself. I run into problems and stagnation if I try to control the creative process of doing the music. I have to be open-minded. Being in a good mood helps, but I've also played great shows being really pissed off. So um, at this point in my life, healthy, remaining healthy, and having an open mind. And as for my instrument, you have to be fearless. You have to want to take risks, and you have to want to push the envelope. That's the fun part. And if I get it wrong, so what? That's kind of how I feel about it. But if I lose that drive and it's not interesting for me anymore, and I don't feel like it's a risk, if I don't get those butterflies before every show, which I still get and I love it, then I know that something's changed.
Okay. Well, Will, you recorded with many musicians, some of them really studied musicians. Any of those experiences led some unforgettable memories or a teaching that you keep till these days?
Man, there's been some. I've had some interesting ones, man, that were very valuable. In America, when you play with older jazz or blues guys, it can be challenging when you're in your 20s. They think you're a kid and you're not good and you're not, I've had some very harsh things said to me in some of those recordings. I was called the MTV kid, or he doesn't know this music, and this uh, um, the great saxophonist David Fathead Newman, who played on many of the Ray Charles records, he walked past my drum booth and he asked me how old I was, and when I told him, he said, "My saxophone case is older than you." You know, you have these kind of things, but there's beautiful moments too. With Herb Alpert. Um, who's a huge person in the music industry, and he let me produce his record the way that I wanted to. The Los Angeles Symphony, certainly a session I couldn't afford, but he let me drive the bus, and it was great to work with the LA Symphony, and it was great for me to call up my homeboys also from LA that I knew that wanted to come in and play percussion or sing background. It was totally my own. That was I would think the Herb Alpert record is called Colors. That was one of the most exciting and educational and profound moments I had in the recording studio as a player and a producer.
Wow, great. Thanks for sharing. Well, I'd like to ask you at last for something that happened in Chile with Living Color. There was a Living Color show that was very special because you played in Estación Mapocho, this big train station. You opened that night because after you played Chancho en Piedra, a huge, massive band here in Chile at the time. They always named you as your one of their main influences. Do you remember something of that night?
Is that the band that had a video in the back on the screen with something going in circles? They had a very did they have images
Yeah,
on
yeah, yeah.
the
They have, yeah.
I
They
remember that night, but what was intriguing for me was the images that were playing on the screen, which I thought I like art and I like visual art. And the band was great, but they had some very interesting, how can I put it, man? Maybe it's Chilean humor and I wasn't aware of it. But it was
yeah, yeah,
very
they include a lot of humor, and things from
it was
properly
it
from
was
Chile.
beautiful and it was unique, but the cartoons looked like characters from the 1970s in the States. So for us, it kind of had a little bit of the Hanna-Barbera Warner Brothers look, but then there was this odd Chilean humor going around. I just remember someone riding a bike and there's a turntable, things were going in circles, and it was a flag. It was totally bananas. I think we were the only ones laughing. Maybe this has a meaning in Chile that we weren't aware of, but I was impressed with the band and the fact that they use these images also to enhance the show. I remember that part of it. Yeah.
That's great. Well, really, I want to thank you. It's been really an honor to talk to you. I hope you have a great day. I hope we are really waiting for you next year. So I'd like you, if you can send a greeting to the people
Yes.
that is watching I Rock and an invitation to the show.
Okay. Hello, my name is Will Calhoun. You are listening. Are you listening or watching?
Watching, really.
Watching. Sorry. I'm
No
on my
worries.
old radio days. Hello, this is Will Calhoun here, the drummer, the baterista for Living Color. You are watching iRock. Check it out. Support the music. Look forward to seeing you next year.
Thank you so much, Will. I hope you have a nice day. It's been really a pleasure.
Muchas gracias.